Good morning, beautiful. How are you now? Good morning. March 26th. It's a Thursday. Good morning, Brainiac. So, first thing I want to say is we are going to meet on Monday at 10 a.m. Period 2, 10 a.m. Period 4, 11 a.m. Okay, but we're going to meet Monday morning virtually on Google Meet or Google Hangout. I haven't decided yet. Okay. So right now, before I talk about this, plan for the day. Hopefully, you have completed attendance. Hopefully, you have written in your Corona Chronicle. By the way, Governor Walz just told us we're going to have a 2 week shelter in place. Write about it. What does that mean for us? Write about it. Okay. So, after you kind of complete these primary steps, what we're going to spend the bulk of time today doing is reading and applying Taliban rules to our own life. Okay, so in the book, you've noticed that the Taliban have come into power in Afghanistan, and that has changed things for Afghanistan citizens. All right, I know some of you history buffs, um, you're all over this, but some of us aren't as familiar, and that's really okay. Taliban, though, once they came into rule, once they had a power over an area, whether it's Kabul or any other area, they enforce their own rules. Okay, so today we're going to read through these rules, and then what we're going to do is we're going to apply these rules to our own lives, see how our own lives would change. So to do this, in order to follow along, please go to Google Classroom, go down to Afghanistan topic, click on today's class, and here you're going to see a whole lot. Okay, so here I have attached, if you go to the bottom, rules, Taliban rules for female and Taliban rules for general, everyone. Okay, now the Taliban typically is a patriarchal society, so you can guess most of these rules are going to favor men over women. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly show you these rules regarding females. There's 28. You can see all 28 of them here. Below that, I also attached rules for both men and female. Some of these tell you the actual punishments that will be given to someone. Otherwise, over here, here are other punishments that the Taliban uses. If you haven't already read this, you're going to. Okay, a public stoning. So, yeah, right. Like, how peppy is that? Thank you, Miss Weiss. A public stoning. Can't wait to read that in the Kite Runner. Not trying to make light of it, but yeah, these are real things we're going to see happening. So, with that being said, hello, Miss Von Fair. With that being said, what you're doing, read through these rules, okay? You don't have to memorize them. You can just kind of skim them. But what we're going to do on Tuesday, you all wrote your own slide. You had your own slide, what you do in your own life, what you like to do in your free time, what you kind of do every day. So what I would like for you to do is apply this knowledge to what we did on Tuesday, right? On Tuesday, we wrote about our daily lives, things we love to do, things that we get to do. The citizens in Afghanistan had/have daily routines too, right? Everyone has their own likes, their own habits, and their own routines when they have the freedom to do so. But now I want you to think about how much of our own daily lives would be changed if we didn't have that freedom, right? Like, think about how much of your own life would be changed if you now had to live under the Taliban rules. Okay, and as weird as this seems, like, why, come on, we're not living under Taliban rules. Come on, Miss Weiss. As weird as it seems, think about it. There are millions of people who have been impacted and forced to change their lifestyle dramatically because of external powers like the Taliban coming in. And it's not just the Taliban, right? For every Taliban we talk about, there's so many other warlord or other extremist groups. So think about these rules, okay? We're applying them to ourselves. So think about these and think about, especially girls. Like, I'm looking at this myself and I'm just like, I am such an independent woman. This just strips so much away from me. Think about the females in your life, the strong women you all know, and think about how this would dramatically change them. I want you to also think about, we've been really like seeing a mirror, right? Like, we've been with a mirror this whole book. This whole narration has been a mirror. Amir doesn't have a female in his life until he really gets married. So we haven't seen these rules at work so much because we haven't seen a lot of females in this book as primary characters until, again, like, Amir gets married. You've been shielded from a lot of this. as we see more and more in Kabul, we're going to hear more about this. As you read deeper into the book, you haven't really, I mean, we've been kind of sheltered from how horribly, or yeah, females are kind of controlled. Um, so what I would like you to do with all of this put aside, I would like for you to click on the link down here to Google Slides. Okay, so what you're going to do, I have made a copy of the slides that we made last week. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to find a friend slide. Yeah, you're going to find a friend slide, and then you're going to comment on it, right? Like if you see what I did here, I made this comment. Okay, how I made this comment, so let's say I'm going to do, I'll just do mine. If I want to make a comment, I go up here to this main bar and I click this button. You all have the ability to make a comment. I set it up so you can make a comment, but you can't edit their slides just because I know some of you are friends and you're kind of goofy. So I want you to pick someone. You could pick someone you're friends with, pick someone you don't see very often. Very cute dog, 10 out of 10, good pupper. Pick a slide that preferably no one else has done. If we get a couple on one slide, it's not that big of a deal. But I want you to go onto a new slide and create a comment, right? So you go up here, you create your comment, type your name, even though it says your name. If it says your name on it, you don't have to. I didn't know it did that. Awkward. Okay, so comment your name, and then, hey, read through their slide and go back and forth and see which rules did they break, right? Like which rules. So girls, which rules are the other girls breaking? Look at both general and the rules regarding females, okay? Just kind of type it loosely. So if you see what I did here, general rules broken, here are a few of them, female rules broken. I pretty much broke most of them. I mean, some of them didn't apply to me, but I broke a lot of them. You don't have to list them all, okay? You don't have to list them all, but just kind of get into this. Look at how different life would be if we didn't have the freedoms we have. With that being said, remember, this isn't class. This would be a lot easier to do in class. So we're going to do our best with this, okay? Remember, your classmates wrote, and you wrote in short bullet points, okay? Some of you really literally wrote like food, work, school, coffee. Like you literally wrote bullet point words, and that's great. That's fine. So, but the challenge is, as you read your classmates, even if they don't have much there, try to synthesize these rules. Like somehow, how could you still apply at least one or two of these rules to a classmate, okay? Now, even if they don't have a lot of information, like I said, even if they just said getting coffee and you can't find anything wrong, try to create a justification. Well, you better make time to do that in between their 5 times of praying, right? Because that is a rule. It is a rule. You must pray 5 times a day. It's somewhere in here. Oh, see. Number 9. All Afghans must attend prayers in mosques 5 times daily. So it's like, well, you make sure your coffee break isn't lining up with prayer time, okay? Like you're thinking of it in those ways. Like I said down here, use the rules and bend them to apply somehow, some way. This is going to be difficult, right? Like some of us don't have a lot written there. That's okay. It would be easier to do in class. So I understand that this isn't going to be completely straightforward. Just do your best to apply the rules, okay? Any of your rules. Try to apply at least 2 or 3 to a slide of your choice. Okay? So that concludes this. I'll be checking in later looking for your comment somewhere. You will get participation points for doing a slide and also then having your comment here. Okay? So with that being said then, the last thing I want to talk to you about today, right, we already did step 4, we already did step 5. Keep reading in your book, chapters 18 through 21. We'll have a reading quiz on Monday. And then lastly, oh my gosh, sorry. The last thing then is, that was Taylor Swift, Endgame. I would be silly to not try to compare, or at least try to connect the Taliban's presence to the coronavirus here in America, okay? So I'm just going to read this with you. The Taliban completely changed the daily lives of Afghans. How can you connect the experience of the Taliban presence in Afghanistan to the presence of the coronavirus here in America? What things do both movements have in common? And these are just some bullet points to get you thinking. What does it feel like to fear leaving the house? I fear leaving the house and going to get groceries. I fear I'm going to get sick. What does it feel like to not know when you will get to see our friends again? My parents are both older. I don't know when I'm going to get to go home again. Third one, have you tried to break any of the rules? Why or why not? Have you tried to meet up with friends? Have your parents, have your guardians said no? Last one here, what other connections have you come up with that you can connect to the Taliban's presence, to the coronavirus presence? So I gave you a couple ideas here. How else can you connect it, right? Like, what is it like to have this fear here? Okay, so you don't have to write anything up. Just kind of be ready to discuss this here um, on Monday. We're just going to give it a go. We'll try it out. Lastly, if you need anything, contact me, let me know. I'm going to get off this video because I've been droning on for too long. Email me, call me, beat me if you want to reach me.